Wolf Children is one of my most favourite films of all time. It's up there alongside the greats Citizen Kane, The Dark Knight, the original Star Wars trilogy, and Pulp Fiction. With that said, I'm mostly going to be speaking of Wolf Children today, specifically talking and doing some analysis on the character of Ame. More into him later. Wolf Children is a 2012 Japanese film directed and co-written by Mamoru Hosoda. The story follows a young mother named Hana who is left to raise two half-human, half-wolf children, Ame and Yuki, after their werewolf father dies in a horrific accident.
Take good care of our children. She thought she heard him say that as he walked away.
The film engages the audience with a sincere personal arrangement, as if they're in the mind of one of Wolf Children's characters. In Wolf Children, the two siblings have very defined traits, following the path paved out for each other from when they were children. Yuki, the older sibling, grows up alongside his family, while Ame, the younger child within adolescence, takes it upon himself to grow up without letting anyone know. Ame in childhood is pretty easily defined. He was a shy, curious boy who was afraid of the world outside his house. Hosoda, throughout all his major works, enjoys producing characters with defined personalities with a clear narrative arc, usually all revolving around this theme of family. Before 2012's Wolf Children, Hosoda had really never focused on the sibling dynamic, mostly sticking to narratives with one solitary main character with a supporting family cast. The animator turned director decided upon start of production with his very own studio to change up the formula by focusing on a sibling and brother dichotomy. Yuki, the scrappy child, turned mature, strong teenage girl, and Ame, who is kind of the worst. Frustration is the first word that comes to my mind when Ame is shown as a child. The audience is meant to feel frustrated by him throughout the film. He creates a worrisome time for his mother due to the simple fact we grow with Hana as time passes while he really doesn't. The film's core conflict revolves around the strength and persistence of the young Hana, setting the difficult dilemma whether she should let her kids be wolves or humans. Raising the question, can we live wild and free but also at the same time live diligently as hardworking humans? Throughout the film, Hosoda asks, is Hana parenting her kids correctly due to the fact she was left without any information before her husband died? Throughout the film, she gives her children more and more freedom every now and again. Hana, from the first moment she gave birth to her children, wanted to give a life of freedom where they can let their wild side out without being judged, and as time passes she would accept whatever path they choose. In the first act of the film, she uproots her entire life in Tokyo and moves to the countryside so she can galvanize upon this freedom she wants to give to her children. We see throughout the film the bond between Ame and his mother becomes more and more difficult due to her lack of conviction to let him go. There's a famous quote out there, I don't exactly know where it's from, but it goes something along the lines like this. The strongest bond within this world is that of one between a mother and her child. This rings especially true for this film. Ame within the narrative transforms from the shy, attentive young boy I mentioned previously to a curious, silent wolf. When I first watched this with my family when I was 12, I thought this happened rather quickly, but as I rewatched it as an adult, on subsequent viewings, the film clearly demonstrates Ame's gradual maturity. It's shown to us quite eloquently in my two favourite scenes of the film. The first one being a quite clear experience of what it was like for him in high school, and the second one is a 15-minute sequence where the whole family finally feels what true freedom feels like. In this scene, the snow covers the vast fields and mountains surrounding their home. The door slides open as the three of them gawk in amazement. Here's the first time we've actually seen Ame truly happy. The director created a character whose state of mind was ambiguous, unlike his sister who narrates the whole film. As Yuki sees the vast white landscape, her character shines. She jumps out into the snow with pure delight. Her brother, on the other hand, we see him trudging along, trying his best not to slip and fall over. Ame in this film is yet to show his wild side, the freedom as all viewers know he craves due to his half-wolf nature. The titled idiot falls over though, but then something truly remarkable happens. His mother jumps in and hugs both of the children, and then we hear laughter. Ame, the little crybaby that he is laughing his heart out. This scene is very eloquent to show what he truly is coming to terms with, what he really values. Ame and Yuki run down the covered snowfields in parallel fashion. Their mother stumbles down, a smile across her face. Ame and Yuki take different paths, ultimately ending up in the same place, crossing each other symbolically and meeting in the middle, foreshadowing the polar opposite paths they will be taking in the future. In this moment, Ame is free, Yuki is free. She is grateful and proud of her children's dual identity, being able to let go of the world and just be themselves, be free and be happy. Fortunately, this doesn't last for long, due to a near-death experience by accidentally falling into a river, almost drowning, and alienation within his school. This leads to his demeanor changing and losing his innocence in the third act. And all of it all culminates at the end by him rejecting his human half in order to get back to his happiness he experienced as a wolf in the snow. Ame in Japanese means rain. Ame the character was named this due to the fact that he was born on a rainy day, and at the end of the film he leaves his mother on a rainy day, clearly establishing and bookending his narrative arc just with one word. Crying constantly as a child who would always be cradled by his mother, asking for care. The little fucking coward. As he ages, he silently views life from the distance, becoming more in touch with his other half, learning the sounds of his forest and his primal instincts. Hana, in the end, is proud and realizes his son's place in the world, where he wants to be, not where she wants to be. She gave them a taste of freedom while trying her best to direct her children to a peaceful human life. But at the end of the day, there's no right or wrong answer here. She did the best to her ability, and that's all that matters. And the howl at the very end of the film is symbolic. He is howling for his mother. It's gonna be alright, Mom. It's gonna be alright. If this wasn't obvious, this movie deeply resonated with me a lot, probably due to the fact I watched this when I was very young, so I deeply related to the character of Ame. I don't know how to say this without being kind of a dick, but I'm gonna say it anyway. I was also a very cute and shy kid with an outspoken older sister who was mostly raised by our mother. Not to say my dad died before I was born, he just wasn't really around a lot. I did also lose my innocence as I got more older and more of a jaded perspective on the world. I don't know whether this was Hosada's intention or not. I always perceived this story as an allegory for interracial relationships and what it feels like to be mixed race. For those who don't know, in Japanese I'm what they call a hafu. So this narrative of half human, half wolf children mixed identity is something I rarely see represented in modern contemporary cinema. So seeing such a familiar depiction of my identity was so evocative. I know what it feels like not to belong, the constant daily struggle with identity and the sentiment of not really belonging in an evil world. I know the unfair sensation of being an outsider due to the uncontrollable factor of one's own parentage. I can empathize with Yuki's feeling of wanting to assimilate and grow up and move on from such binaries, and I know what it's like to finally accept who and what I really am. Just like Ame. Nobody can change who you inherently are. I am what I am. My identity is my own and it's up to me to choose it, not anyone else. The only person who dictates that is me.
I'm looking around for the answers. You decide what we have in the future. Yeah, your grip is too tight and I'm bruising.
G'day guys, welcome back. Thanks for watching the video. I am going to go bawl my eyes out now because this movie makes me feel so warm and fuzzy inside and I have no idea what's going on. Hana is best girl. She is such a good mum. Oh my god, I love just if you haven't seen this movie and you just wanted to get a brief rundown and like a sort of analysis, I didn't spoil too much, so I feel like you can go into this movie pretty well. I feel like you can just watch this movie even if what I've said, so I recommend going watch this movie if you haven't already, so yeah. Okay, that's me. Okay, I hope you guys enjoyed that.